Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Abigail Murray. I work for the SBIDZ and I'm responsible for enterprise development. It is my job this morning to welcome you to our 6th or 7th Togasi session. Togasi stands for Talks on the Oil and Gas Industry, and the objective of the session is to share information with the SMME community about the oil and gas industry, but then also what the expectations are for the various sectors. And we've had quite a few sessions. This is the 3rd year that Togasi happens on a monthly basis from 9 to 10, because we understand that it is businesses that we are servicing and that there is money to be made. So the session is only an hour long, and we've handled quite a few topics over the last couple of months. There was logistics and warehousing, and we had Laura talk about industry trends, amongst many others. And today we would like to present to you Chairpo Solutions Group, and the presenter is Charles. We also want to thank Buntu from their marketing team that assisted in bringing about today's session. Obviously, we want you to learn from these sessions as much as possible, because the speakers are normally experts in their own field. And today, Charles will tell us a bit about all-terrain services, I think. So it is quite a few industries, and we've chosen them because we do see a lot of their services in our database and the kind of businesses that come into our doors on a daily basis. And we will communicate to the local communities how we bring them back into the presentation later. We only have like 3 Togasi sessions left for the year, but I wish you, that you enjoy the session and learn from it as much as possible. So without further ado, I present you Charles. Thank you.
Thanks, Abigail. As Abigail has said, my name is Charles Tui. I am the Senior Business Development Manager for All Terrain Services. We are an operating division of the Tsebo Outsourcing Group. I've left a bit of a profile of who I am and what I do, but in essence, I've actually, by qualification, I'm a chef by trade. And somewhere along the line, I've been absorbed into the corporate space. We've been asked to talk to you about some of our services, and which are auxiliary services to the main projects that would be run by the IDZ. So the services that we'll be talking to today is kitchens and catering, housekeeping and cleaning, gardening and landscaping, functions and events catering, and laundry services. As an organization, we are the leading company in the industrial catering industry per se. And these are a number of our different clients. I'll give you a second or two to have a look at who we actually deal with. They are fairly high profile and leading organizations within the company or the country as a whole. I don't know if you can identify some that will work in your specific space. We've got your normal APSAs, where we have an agreement with them that we do all their work in sub-Saharan Africa. Anything to do with cleaning, catering, and facilities management for APSA. We even get to the point where we've got guys on motorbikes that stop and clean the ATMs to make sure that everything is done and dusted by the time you draw your money. This is the range of the services that we provide. The first part is our soft services, which is facilities management. It integrates things like business, building management. In essence, we take over a building and run it from top to bottom in a turnkey solution. So if you were running a municipality, for argument's sake, we could actually come in and run the municipal management of your offices from top to bottom. And we just give you one invoice at the end of the deal. We also do industrial catering. We have 6 operating divisions within our industrial catering portfolio. So we actually modeled our business around specific client requirements. So we have a division that focuses purely on mining and heavy industry, a division that focuses on corporate catering, one that focuses on high-end corporate catering. We do hospitals, we do schools, we do the whole range of anything to do with catering in the business. We also have a hygiene division, which is our cleaning company. We have a company called Sebo Cleaning. We're actually the third biggest industrial cleaning company in the country at the moment. We have a security company called Torban. I don't know if they do a little bit of work on the Saldanha bankments here as well. So they form the protection services division of our organization. We have what we call business support. It's, as we've said, in specific, doing work for ABSA, for example. When you walk into an ABSA head office, the first person you see at the reception is not an ABSA employee. That person actually works for us. So we provide the support to take away from the core business of any organization that we deal with. We do a hygiene solution as well. So wherever you go and in your different airports and stuff, and you need to draw your hand sanitizer and all, we actually deal in that space. We also have what they call an energy management solution. So we would actually come into certain projects or certain companies, and one of our biggest clients is Clicks, where we go into the Clicks organization and we do assessments of their energy usage, energy, water, the whole lot, and then provide them with solutions as to how they could actually cut down and manage that process. Okay, so as an organization, we have been in existence for 46 years, but in 2010 was a defining year for us, where we actually started our expansion and growth processes into our specific company. So this is an indication as to where we were in 2010 and where we are in 2017 as an organization. So in 2010 we were 7 countries, now we are 23 countries, and the rest of it goes down. One of the key things we'd like to highlight is at this given point we have 37,000 employees across the whole of sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East. What we believe is one of our biggest strengths and one of our biggest building blocks is how do we integrate our services and solutions into communities. We are a level 1 BEE contributor, which is one of the, I think the only big industry organization that has managed to achieve this in the catering space. Okay, we have massive community-based supplier development programs, so wherever we get involved in a community, we look at ways and means of trying to source all product out of the community that we function within. Okay. Then, we have a foundation as well, which wherever we lay a footprint, our foundation comes into play and see where we can actually develop within the local areas. I'll show you a few corporate videos a bit later on which touches on these specific points. How do we leave value in the communities that we operate within? Okay. We also have quite a big drive as far as development of disabled people. 2% of our total employment is disabled people. Okay, as the Tsebo Group, we're made up of a number of different divisions. As I said, we speak to facilities management, we speak to catering, we speak to cleaning, protection services, hygiene, energy and procurement. And below that you'll see a number of the brands that function within the spaces that we operate. I'll take you through individual slides of the different brands, and it will just highlight exactly what the different brands are all about. So our facilities solution, as I said, it's primarily into corporate parks and office blocks, and we're starting to delve into hospitals where we do a turnkey solution for the hospital, where we pick up the complete package and run with that for them. What it means for an organization is if you've got everything under one umbrella, then you can actually start leveraging profitability or costs out of this whole process. So instead of having a manager in cleaning, a manager in catering, you can have one manager that integrates the process, and whatever savings we bring to the table gets passed back to our client base. Okay, so our solutions, our facilities management solutions has 50 contracts currently, and we have 1,500 employees within that specific division. There's a list of some of our high-profile clients that we deal with in that specific space. You'll also see our accreditation there, ISO 9001 and 14001 and 18001. I'll make reference to that when we start speaking to how that affects you as a community in the space that you're looking at playing it with the IDZ. Okay, then we have All Terrain Services, which is a division that I work for. We are primarily based in Africa, so we look at large mining, we follow the large mining footprint. So wherever a mine is launching a new mine, a mining house is launching a mine in Africa, we come along and provide the support. So we'll set up the camps, we'll set up the kitchens, we'll set up the whole infrastructure that will support that specific mine in the area. And in that division, we've got 3,700 employees and 70 contracts. So we've actually taken the African footprint and we've brought it into the South African context. So we've relabeled all our mining business under the All Terrain Services brand. For an example, this we'd see as an industrial or a high industrial zone type of scenario. So ATS brand would be the facilitator within the space as our organization. FedEx, I don't know if anybody might have known FedEx over the years, which is one of our brands. We do catering in the hospital division, into education, into some of the industrial sites. The leisure industry, where we play in a lot of golf clubs and things like that, where we manage the catering and the restaurant facilities for them. And then to a certain level in some of the corporate parks. And as again, you'll be able to see some of our partners that we have in play in that specific company. And then we have what we call the gem of our portfolio, is a company called TS Africa. These guys actually play in the high-end corporate park, where you're doing one-on-one catering with CEOs and things like that within a specific environment. Okay, so they don't have managers, they are a whole management team as executive chefs. So these guys are artists as far as food and that goes. That's where you find they don't have many contracts, but the ones that they do are very, very niche. Then, as I said, we have Torban Security. They have actually quite a wide footprint along the west coast up here. Head office is based in Cape Town. So it's a company we acquired when we were looking at expanding the portfolio of services that we wanted to bring into the industry. Okay, as I said, we've got Sebo Cleaning Services, which we say is the third largest cleaning company in South Africa at this point. We have aspirations of growing beyond that. So our ultimate goal is to get to number one in the country. Okay, and then to support Sebo Cleaning, we have Sebo Hygiene Solutions. So wherever they go along, they plug in the hygiene solution into the process. So in a guest house like this, for example, we'd offer you a solution for cleaning, and we pick up all the auxiliary services that relate to the cleaning process. Okay. And as I say, from here onwards, we've developed a lot of partnership models throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And the flagship for us is a company called CCM. They're based in Namibia. So we are their technical partner, and they are the 80% stakeholder in the business. So when we partnered with them, these guys did not have any clue of what happens in the catering space. And over the 25 years that we've been with them, we've literally withdrawn our partnership and left a bit of a legacy process for them to grow in that specific space. Okay, and then we have a company called Servco. They do our Mozambique operations. It's a similar type of process, which is a partnership with a local Mozambican company. Then we have our ventures into the Middle East. It's a company called Karam FedEx, where we are a player in the oil and gas industry in the Middle East. So we do offer our facilities management solutions on the oil rigs and so on in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. Okay, then we have our energy solution. As I've said, it's more of a monitoring and assessing an advisory organization. So we go in, give you advice as to how we can actually help you resolve the issues around energy and. Okay, then we have a company called Backbone. This is actually a very, very strange company. They are responsible for office allocation space. So if you have an office and you need to realign your office, you go out on a Friday, you leave it to us, and Monday you come in and everything has been reconfigured in your office space. So it also plugs into our facilities solution that has a value-added service to the facilities division. Okay. And then we have at the core of our whole organization is our procurement division. So these guys actually do procurement for the whole infrastructure that we run. At this given point, we have a spend of 7.5 billion a year in procurement. So they've got to look at sourcing local suppliers. How do we engage in enterprise development? How do we actually align ourselves to be able to become a level 1 BEE organization? Okay. So in essence, as a company, this is the slogan that we live by: to enhance Africa's economic and social potential through delivering robust and dependable infrastructure platforms that enable our clients to be successful. So that's us, Tsebo, as an organization, who we are and what we do. Now, how does that apply to the IDZ and the Saldanha community? How do we actually envisage us adding value into this whole space? Because I think one of the biggest challenges is that everywhere we go, there's buzzwords. Where there's a big, massive industrial development going on, there's a lot of buzzwords. BEE scorecards, localization, black empowerment, and all this whole lot of processes that go. It always becomes a discussion point. But the biggest challenge as a community, when these opportunities arise, are we geared to make full use and to maximize the advantages out of a situation like this? So I think that's a question we first got to ask ourselves. Are we geared up for it? Does this opportunity bypass us at some given point, or do we walk away from this at the end of the project and we've created a legacy situation for ourselves? Okay, so there's a three-pronged approach to what we do. The benefit that we could add to the IDZ per se, the benefit to the community, and yes, a benefit to us. We are a business as we stand in the process. Okay. So what we said is that there's a number of challenges that a company like the IDZ will have when embarking on this type of community development project. They have a role in promoting local business. So by the time this project is up and running, there's got to be a benefit for the local businesses within a specific area. They've got to create an opportunity for development for possible stakeholders in the value chain. So as far as the corporate or the core contracts that will be issued here, there's got to be a value chain that develops with this. So if there's an industrial park being developed, the value chain would include a landscaping company, it will include a company fencing perimeters, things like that. So there's got to be a consistent value chain in the process. So we might all look at it as an industrial development zone, but there are auxiliary services that develop and plug into this process to make it successful. Okay, then from the IDC's perspective, it's got to have value for their BEE accreditations as well, being a big organization. And it's got to be a legacy project at the end of the process. It can't be something that works today, and when everything quietens down, it all comes to an end, and people are all left watching and wondering what happened. So this is a bit of a technical slide, but what we're basically saying is this is a link of what the benefits are to the IDZ as far as their BEE procurement and scorecard goes. Then we're speaking to SMMEs, small businesses, and what are the challenges as a small business? If you want to be playing in a space like this, what challenges do you encounter? The first challenge is cash flow. You'll find a lot of contractual work. You've got contractual time or financial payment terms and agreements per se. So you might be engaged in a catering contract to feed guys on the ships, for argument's sake. Bearing in mind they are going to pay you after 30 days. As a small organization, you don't have access to a credit facility because none of the suppliers are going to allow you a 30 or a 60-day terms if you don't have a track record and a history around it. So you're set up to fail because, for one, you're never going to be able to sustain the business because everything you're doing out of pocket. So you're always going to be 2 to 3 months behind before you start getting an income out of the process. So that's one of the biggest challenges. You're going to be sitting with staffing costs. Your staff want their salary at month end. If your supplier hasn't paid you, how do you pay your people? The next part of it is skills. So as far as the skills come into play, are you geared up and do you have the necessary skills to deliver at the level that's required of you? Okay, then the next one is compliance. In a lot of cases, the technical compliance to a lot of these industries that we're talking to are of such a high level that if you haven't been in the game long enough, you're not going to have the technical compliances to deal with these things. Health and safety compliances, things like that, the rules and regulations that govern this thing. So you walk into and from day one, and you're not geared up to make this thing work. So it's a recipe for failure. So I think the success in something like this is how do you develop a model that can make you successful over a long period of time. So I think with us as Tsebo, we'd like to see our role in a community like this is as a facilitator, or be it a bridge between wherever the contracts are being sourced and the SMMEs that are going to be playing in that specific space. So we've actually developed a model around that where we talk to the technical side of it. We're a big organization. I mean, we can lever suppliers to anything up to 90 days. So if you buy chicken today, we'll pay for it 90 days from now. So there's no need for you to be in a situation of monitoring your cash flow. We sort that problem out for you. Okay. We provide the technical, we've got a skills college, so we go out and we do technical training. We've got accredited training as far as all the different services we provide. We've actually got the technical skills that go with it. Okay, then we also look at a lot of the opportunities that might arise, call it in the security space for argument's sake. There's a lot of the security industry has evolved to such an extent that everything has become so technical that if you're not on the cutting edge of technology, you're never going to be successful in the space. So we will provide you with the technical support. So when the object of this exercise, if a tender comes up within the space that we play, we'd like to come along and support you into that specific process. Then we talk to how the process actually works. Okay. So in essence, we would be the contractual person into the IDZ. And we would partner with whoever is interested in partnering with us to see how we can extract the value out of these specific scenarios. Okay. The object of the exercise as well is we're talking of a legacy issue here. So we don't want to be seen as a big organization that walks into a space and you feel that you've been deprived. So whatever situation we develop or relationship we develop with the local supplier gets phased out over a period of time. So as soon as you start gaining traction and as soon as you start gaining the expertise to take on the role more aggressively, we take a secondary role in the process. So whatever agreement or decision we get involved in, be it a 3-year deal, at the end of 3 years we need to be out. And it needs to leave you with the legacy that you can take on this business on your own and continue making it successful because you've gained the technical skills. Over the period of time, you've managed to sort out your cash flow. You've got all your compliance issues sorted out. So now you're an independent operator that can sort out a business to be able to pass on to a generation from now. Okay. There's a whole list of benefits to the IDZ, which I wouldn't really dig too deeply into. It talks around their BEE spend and all of that type of scenarios. Okay. So this is an important slide. Is how do we work with SMMEs? Okay, so we look at the technical side of the business first. Corporate governance. So in order for you to start a small catering company, you need to be compliant in health and safety. You need to have a quality management program. We've been to a number of sites. I'll give you an example where Eskom puts out a tender. And they say, listen, we as Eskom, we're looking at uplifting the communities and so on and so on and so on. And 150 companies arrive. The first slide of the presentation says your technical requirements to tender are A, B, C, D, E. 95 of those people get up and walk out. Because you literally stopped at the door. So yes, we might not provide you with the solution that's going to solve your problems tomorrow, but it's going to give you or put you into a position 3 or 4 or 5 years from now where you are better equipped to deal with opportunities that come to the fore. Okay, so we provide technical support, we provide financial support, and we provide you with compliance support if and so required. Why do we believe we are best positioned to be able to facilitate and to add value within this Saldanha Bay Industrial Development Zone project? Specifically with focus on how does it empower and develop the local communities. We've been doing this for very many years. So over the last 46 years, we've been involved in a lot of these projects. One of the biggest partnership projects that we have at the moment is we are in partnership with a group of ladies, a ladies group up in Lephalale, and we service the Medupi power station feeding. There we feed 20,000 meals a day. And the ladies group is actually the major stakeholder in this specific business that we run. So if you're going to take 200 women and multiply it by a family of 5 or 6, and you see the reach that this project actually has into that specific community. We also have a long history of developing relationships, nurturing, and being able to maintain relationships wherever we go. So we have a history of that, so we know how to do it. We also have a large-scale platform that supports us into whatever we do. We've got a strong IT division, we've got large financial backing, so we're a big player in whatever industry or space that we go into. So yes, we've got the muscle to be able to carry whatever we develop through the process. We're also in a situation that we've got strong adherence to technical standards and so on. So we've got a lot of compliance monitoring processes, so we can actually add value wherever we go, and we can sustain the standards and levels that we put out there into the industry. And we are also, being a level 1 BEE supplier, or we also can help IDZ develop their BEE scorecard as well. And then the biggest drive on us is how do we take our product and leave a legacy in the communities that we operate. So thank you people for your time and listening to what I have to say. So I'm now open for questions. If there's any engagement you'd like to bring forward, I'm more than glad to.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Portia Nene. I'm the marketing associate for the Saldanha Bay IDZ. So, firstly, just want to thank Charles for coming out to present to you to the small business of West Coast. The first thing that we just want to highlight is when we get guest speakers, we have almost like a matrix that we're trying to cover certain subject matters. So some of them would be about upskilling. So whether we imparting knowledge about the oil and gas industry, and others are to bridge the gap. So we've had, we found that we were focusing a lot on the industry and oil and gas, and we've had a lot of speakers speak about shipping and all those, but there's other industries, like the soft catering, and those are things that we actually need even right now. And the biggest gap has been, and for myself, constantly also having to coordinate events here, has been people not being compliant. Not knowing what to do to upskill themselves. So it was more of getting the Tsepo group to come speak to us on a company that's already achieved to be compliant for an IDZ. So this is by no means saying that now you have to work with them. And Charles, when we had a conversation and I was briefing him, it was more of, obviously he has to speak about his company. His experience is his company. But then to try connect the dots on how do you then, for your small company, see what's the gap. So it's one of those, you could contact him for just mentorship. You could contact him for contacts as well, just to bridge the gap, because we are worried that we are moving forward, but people are still getting left behind, and we can only do our bit a little bit at a time. So also just to link to his presentation for today, we have 2 more Togasis left. So we have next month and October. And October was an extension that I just motivated because what we want to try to do is get companies that already exist to present that day. So obviously we can't have everyone. And the selection will be made according to what industries we're trying. So we obviously can't have 5 catering companies or 5 shipping companies, but we're going to try to have a widespread. So also just speak where they are, because we all kind of sitting in this illusion that people are okay and where they're not, you know. And those that are finding that they can help certain companies are not getting the opportunities to have that link. So with regards to his presentation, it will be loaded on the website where you guys would normally receive the invitation. So that's one. And if there's any communication with any of our speakers that you require, you are allowed to be with Abigail. I travel around, so I'm not always in West Coast, so Abigail would always be the point of contact from this side. And she'll always forward me the emails. Anything that you feel could help. I know there's also been some people who mentioned that emails are great, but not everyone has access to email. Those initiatives are welcome, but remember we roll out these things in the beginning of the year for everyone. So I can't change the system in the middle of the year. So because we are coming to a close, we would appreciate if people can give us what they felt. I mean, we don't want just only the great, because if we're doing good, then there's no need for these. You know, we need the criticism, but you've got to also understand that we are still a national government project. You know, so decisions filter all the way down, and they have to make sense for even this kind of event to be hosted, because budget has to be allocated. You know, but it has to serve purpose for the community. If it doesn't, then you know we have to alter it so it does.
Good morning. My name is Bill Thompson. I'm an ex-SASL employee, retired to Langevin from Secunda. I saw one of your earlier slides, Charles. I saw the SASL logo there. What is your involvement with SASL? You know, I mean, I come out of the petrochemical industry.
We are
in the operations side, so not food and that sort of thing. So what is your actual involvement with SASL?
At SASL, yes. It's actually an interesting story. When we have 1,350 odd employees on the SASL Secunda site at the moment, which takes up about 3% of our total staff complement. And it's actually broken up into a number of different offerings. We have a catering offering. We run all the cafeterias on the plant. We do work for SASL Mining. There's a Brandspruit hostel, we run that. And then there is a new camp that they've just built. It's called Ukozi Lodge, where this is a partnership between us and SASL, where we've taken a previous mine hostel and they've developed it into a lodge. So during the shutdown periods at SASL, we can accommodate up to 1,800 people in the space. And we do a complete turnkey solution for SASL. So we run everything from the time the guy walks into the door, all the way through the experience, right down to the entertainment, the bars, the cleaning of the facilities, the maintenance of the facility. So SASL's input in this thing is basically zero, and they gain the benefit of the financials that come out of it.
But it sounds like it's more on the, let's call it catering, accommodation.
Yes.
So you don't have involvement in the actual operations itself.
Of the oil and gas.
As I said, I have an operations background, but also linked to safety, occupational safety, process safety. You don't have those sort of legs to your organization.
Yeah, whenever the things like our safety component is linked to the type of business that we do. Yes, we do have a big health and safety drive, but it pertains more to, be it in the mining space we work, it will be aligned to the mine health and safety. If it's on different plants, it basically aligns accordingly. But actual physical engineering and production on the SASL plant, no. We provide a support service into the case for us.
Thank you.
Hi Charles, my name is Bonita. I just wanted you to clarify something for me. You said that you would provide support functions to SMEs on a compliance, technical, commercial basis, and then after a period of time you'll have an exit strategy. Now, during that period, how is CEPO compensated for their services that they offer to the SMEs?
There's a number of different options that we work with. We talk around partnerships being one, which we believe is the most sustainable process as far as it goes. Because with the partnership, you get the full suite of services that we provide, and it gives you time to be able to establish your footprint in the process. Because you'll find a lot of compliance documentation are company specific. So you would be riding off our compliance docs for the period of time until such time as you can get the necessary skill sets and documentations to be able to stand on your own. So this is where the process basically comes in. So if you go in on your own now and you don't have whatever compliance requirements are there, we will help you bridge it, and then from there onwards, you'd be able to apply for that specific compliance situation for yourself going forward. That's the one option. The other option is that you take 100% stake and we provide you the technical support with a management fee type of process that goes with it. So we can actually design a suite of, depending on what your requirements are. So I think in essence what we do with a lot of people, we sit down first and establish exactly what you want before we can actually develop an agreement with you.
I have a question for you. At which level, if a small business, in whatever industry they're in, is the requirement to actually try to have you guys assist them? You know?
I'd actually say from the beginning upwards, that the earlier you get us involved, the better. So I think it actually gives you a solid foundation from which you can actually work from. It's difficult if you come in and you've got half the compliance and half of these issues, and for us to try and adapt it accordingly, it becomes a bit of a sticky issue. So the sooner you get us involved, the better. It's actually from the ground upwards.
Good morning, my name is Gareth. We've opened a small shop in Saldanha Bay, consulting, safety, security, and we do all types of things. When I looked at your slides and your presentation, a lot of the stuff that you said, some of the stuff, not some of the, most of the stuff that you've showed us, we actually supply to different industries,
Okay.
like your PPE. If you look at your catering side, we do your sleeves and you know, caps and things like that, uniforms. So my question is, how do we as a small business here get onto your supplier database? What do we need for us to comply to your standards? Another thing is, we've dealt with some of the big companies before, where they actually sent you the forms to fill in. You get on the database, and that's the last you hear from them. Some of the companies outright say, no, we're using the guys that we used last time, you know, because a lot of the things, some of the things come through RFQs to us, but a lot of the things you don't know about. And even if you do send them a profile of your company, you never hear from them again. The shop is there, but it's just there, that's that.
Okay, I think it's, as in life, it's all about how do you walk the process. Because I guarantee you, if you're going to send a profile to a big organization, the chances of them actually looking at is very, very slim. Until we actually understand the background of who you are and what you do. So in a case like this, if we're going to be playing in your space, that will become a prerequisite of whatever business we do in the specific area. If your pricing is right, and we're dealing in Saldanha, and you're the local guy that does this product, we give you the guarantee that we will engage with you and pass the business on. So yes, we don't have much catering business up here. As I said, we've got Durban security, and they go a little bit further up the west coast. So the suggestion would be, I'll give you my card, forward me your company profile, and I can get it to the necessary people. Okay, with a bit of a note to say, please give this priority attention or something to that line.
If I'm back, then I might as well say my name. My name's Andre Ward. What we found in other industries is that with the new codes and the new BE legislation, that the procurement spend for businesses that have 51% black owned, in terms of your supplier ED spend, and versus the businesses that are 100% black owned. The proportion increase of procurement spend increases to businesses that are 51% black owned compared to the 100% black owned. What M&E platforms do you guys have in place to ensure that you maintain and improve upon the 100% black owned ED spend to those businesses? And in probably including, and I'm going to give you a curveball, youth-owned businesses, black women-owned businesses, and then of course PWDs, persons with disabilities, those owned businesses as well. Thanks.
That for us is a starting point for any procurement process that we begin. We actually generally look in the space that we operate. We start from the 100% black-owned scenario and we work our way backwards. So if we can find a 100% black-owned company that can fit into the profile of what we're looking for, that for us is choice one. So we start in that way, and it becomes a process of elimination. So if we can't get to that specific scenario, we hate to deal with the Bidvest of the world. Besides them being our opposition, we hate it. So we only do it if we have to. I think that's the essence, if that answers your question. Okay, just to maybe, our South African operations are one of the big shareholders in our South African operations is the Women's Development Bank of South Africa. So there is we don't just pay lip service to the women process, it's essence of what we